consequences. Witnesses now are choosing sides. Joining me, Sarah Azari, criminal defense attorney, Lisa Bloom, family law attorney with the Bloom firm, legal analyst with Avo.com, Dax Holt, reporter at TMZ and spirit psychotherapist. Dax, you first. TMZ is reporting on what you guys were calling ear witnesses. Tell me about them.
Yeah, so I can tell you our sources connected to this case are saying that there were actually 2 security guards inside the apartment at the time of the argument on last Saturday, that they were standing near the front door, giving the couple space during their argument. At some point during the argument, they hear Amber yell out, "Stop hitting me." The 2 guards say within a second they were in the room, and they claim that Johnny was all the way in the kitchen, 20 feet away from Amber, who was sitting on the couch in the living room. They are seeming to pick Johnny's side in this whole thing. They are saying that she was the one that has flown off the handle many times in the past, thrown bottles at him. They are also backing what the LAPD is saying, that there was no signs of visible injury on her when they arrived, and the apartment was not in disarray. But yeah, they are definitely backing him and not her at this point.
So in addition to these 2 security guards, the report from the LAPD does not provide any evidence that anything went down. Accurate?
That is accurate. That is what they're saying. They're staying to that story. But I can tell you, we just posted a story minutes ago from inside of Amber's camp who's saying, listen, there were injuries on her face when the cops show up. And number 2, they were in an adjoining apartment when the cops arrived to talk with her. She was the one trying to protect Johnny and his career by not giving it all up.
And Dax, did you see Doug Stanhope's post? I'm going to talk about it in a couple of minutes, but I'm wondering if you saw that.
No, what did it
The
say?
one where he alleges, well, he knows Johnny very well, and he was mad that he didn't speak up sooner about the potential for trouble. My question was going to be, did you guys go after Stanhope at all to talk to him?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
I suggest you do. Let's put it that way, because Doug's a very outspoken guy, and he's been around this, and he seems to have a point of view on it. I'll tell you about it in just a minute. Now, Sarah, though, I want to go to you first. You saw Amber on the day she filed for divorce, 2 days after this alleged phone incident. Tell me what you saw.
Correct. I happen to live in the building where Amber Heard was living with Johnny Depp, and she currently continues to live. And although I don't like to talk about my neighbors on air, I do make an exception for justice. In this case, you know, she's had multiple contacts with various people who work in the building, face-to-face with no makeup on. I know that she did for a fact on Monday, the day she filed for divorce, and on Wednesday, 5 days after the incident, and 2 days before she sought the restraining order, and there were no marks on her face. I can guarantee you that, knowing Laura Wasser, Johnny Depp's attorney, she will leave no stone unturned. She's going to come in and look through all the witnesses, interview them, look at the surveillance cameras to look and see whether there were marks on her. And secondly, I have one thing to say, and I think all of us have agreed on this, including Lisa, in the past, is that, you know, post O.J. Simpson in the 90s, LAPD takes these cases extremely seriously. The fact that a victim, quote unquote victim, does not make a statement does not just shut the investigation down. I've handled a number of cases where I've defended somebody who's accused of domestic violence where the victim has not made a statement. That is, in fact, very common. People that are abused choose not to talk about their abuser. So the fact that they came in and she didn't speak is not why they didn't pursue this investigation.
All right, Lisa, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, in fact, I don't agree with that. So it doesn't surprise me that people who are paid by Johnny Depp, like his security guards or his close male friends, are going to support him. It doesn't surprise me that the LAPD does not pursue a case where the victim does not want to make a statement or does not pursue it. There is a mark on her face. You just showed that photo. That hasn't been explained by Johnny Depp's side. Amber Heard says that's the mark that indicates where he threw the cell phone at her. I believe that's what she is saying. And there's that picture again. And listen, what happens in these high-profile cases, and I represent a lot of women against high-profile abusers, including currently, is everybody piles on the side of the rich and famous guy, and there's nothing in it for people to take the side of the woman who's young and powerless.
Well,
and so
no,
that's what happens.
Lisa, that's not fair. Hold
on.
on. Speaking of piling on, Spirit, help me here. So we have attorneys that, even our 2 attorneys are piling on both sides here. To me, for you and I, Spirit, we just see sadness. This is just a sad case. I feel bad for both of them. I hope it wasn't violent. I hope it wasn't a domestic violence scene. But even if it wasn't, this is still a very sad story.
It's a very sad story all the way around for both of them, Dr. Drew. And the interesting thing here, though, is that nobody's talking about that this is not supposedly the first time that this has happened between the 2 of them. What I find interesting, though, is her presentation. I mean, she comes out and she looks so meek, so disoriented. She doesn't know which way to go. Do I turn left? Do I turn right? I almost feel like that she is hamming it up for the cameras here, Dr.
Dax,
Drew.
is she hamming it up?
Say that.
Okay, hold on,
You know
hold
what?
on. But Dax, go ahead. But also, she was married once before. Tell me about that and respond to what Spirit said. Go ahead, Dax.
Well, hamming it up for the cameras, I mean, everyone's judging every moment that this woman is walking around now. Her walking out the front doors, I did find a little interesting, but I think also there's victims who want to show off, hey, look, this should not be happening to other people. Exactly. Yeah. Where did that bruise come from?
Right.
I feel like people are insinuating that she gave herself a bruise on the face to make this case even crazier, but that seems... I don't know.
Yeah, let's be super. Well, hold on, Sarah. Hold on. Let's be super clear. Everyone on this panel and myself takes domestic violence as one of the most serious issues of our time. Let's not minimize it. We are not minimizing it. And absolutely the points, everyone, Lisa, your point is completely valid. So is Sarah's, which is that oftentimes people don't come forward with these things. They feel responsible. They end up protecting the perpetrator. These are coercive relationships. It's disastrous when people are in these relationships. The question is that what's going on here? Exactly. Johnny Depp's friend, comedian Doug Stanhope, who I mentioned a few minutes ago, says Amber has manipulated Johnny since before they were married. He says, and Stanhope is a super glib guy. He's not one to mince words, and he's criticizing himself, really. I'll tell you what he said in a section. But he's saying, hey, I was one of this inside group. I'm like he's sort of, in my mind, he was equating himself with like being an insider with Prince and not saying something, or Michael Jackson and not saying something. And he feels guilty, and now he's speaking up. He says he stayed silent until now. In an editorial for therap.com, he writes, quote, Amber was threatening to lie about him publicly if he didn't agree to her terms. Blackmail is what I would imagine other people might put it. Now, Amber's lawyers have forcefully denied this. Sarah, now I'll let you ring in. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, and people say, well, why would she make this up? I think it's really clear. She's doing this for leverage in the divorce because in California, she's entitled to collect spousal support for half the length of her marriage. In this case, it's a 15-month marriage. I call it a long date, okay? So when you're talking about 8 months or so, give or take, of spousal support, she's trying to stretch this and milk this as much as possible.
How do you know that?
Wait, let me finish, Lisa. Let me finish.
She could have got that without doing anything. So why would she have to prolong it?
If Johnny Depp were to be convicted of domestic violence, the court could actually prolong the period of spousal support. What more motive do you need?
How long?
I think it's up to the judge's discretion.
Lisa.
Drew,